Hello and welcome to the Kansas State Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory YouTube channel. This video demonstrates how to remove the brain from a bovine skull. The brain or part of the brain is needed for the diagnosis of many conditions. In such cases, the entire head may be submitted. However, that is not always practical given the size and weight of an adult bovine's head and the need to keep the brain refrigerated until it is delivered to the laboratory. In these cases, the brain may be removed, chilled, and shipped to the laboratory, greatly reducing the cost of shipping. Begin by assembling the required instruments: a necropsy knife, a saw or cleaver, a pair of scissors, a pair of forceps, 2 large baggies, a Sharpie pen, and the submission form. Remove the head from the body by disarticulation of the atlanto-occipital joint. Stand the head on its caudal surface on the ground. Using the necropsy knife, make a midline skin incision from about 2/3 of the way down the nose to the caudal end of the skull. Reflect the skin laterally on both sides of the head to expose the skull. Leaving the skin and ears attached to the skull will provide a handle to move the skull. 3 cuts will be made to remove the top of the skull. A saw or large cleaver may be used to accomplish this. 1 cut should be made from the occipital condyle to the level of the lateral canthus of the eye. This process should then be repeated on the other side of the head. These 2 cuts are then joined by a 3rd transverse cut. If you will be using a cleaver, wearing safety glasses is recommended as bone shards may be created. Do not use your hand to stabilize the head. It is easy for the cleaver or the head to slip, resulting in serious injury. Also take care to keep each chop in line with the previous to avoid damaging your sample. We do not recommend the use of power tools to make these cuts. Power tools may aerosolize pathogens. Alternatively, a bone saw may be used to make these cuts. Again, care should be taken to maintain the line of the cut in order to avoid damaging the brain. Although a saw is less messy, it is often more difficult to cut through the bone compared to the cleaver. This is a matter of personal preference, and with practice you will feel more comfortable with one tool or the other. Once the cuts have been made through the skull, the top of the skull may be removed. Turn the head so it is resting with the caudal side of the skull on the ground. Hold the nose with one hand, and using the cleaver or a knife, gently pry up the skull cap. Scissors are used to cut the dura mater. The top of the skull can then be removed. Use scissors to cut the cranial nerves. Carefully lift the brain out of the skull with 2 hands. Ensure that the entire brain, including the cerebellum and brainstem, were removed. Both cerebellum and brainstem are required for rabies testing. The OBEX is needed for bovine spongiform encephalopathy (BSE) testing. We recommend shipping the entire brain as a fresh sample. Please do not fix half the brain prior to submission. This is an outdated procedure and may interfere with sample suitability for rabies testing. Place the brain in a clean, labeled, well-sealing bag. Brains should be shipped on ice packs for overnight delivery. If the brain will not be shipped immediately, it must be chilled in the refrigerator prior to packaging with ice packs. Please complete a submission form including the history, any differential diagnosis, and requested testing. Thank you for tuning into the Kansas State Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory YouTube channel. If you have questions about this video or any of our services, please visit us at www.ksvdl.org.